my soul was free.
We're the Fultons from New Orleans, and this is New Mexicast.
Welcome back to New Mexicast, everyone. I'm Rosa Román, and that wonderful intro was done by one of my longtime best friends, Isabel, and her family while they were recently visiting New Mexico. That is one of the nicest things about living here in New Mexico. It is such an enchanting place that even though we do live far away from family and friends, they actually do enjoy visiting us. Well, for a lot of the same reasons that my loved ones like to visit, a lot of famous people like to come to New Mexico, and many of them eventually call it home. One such famous person is the subject of this week's edition of New Mexicast. Actor, director, and artist Dennis Hopper on a recent trip to Taos, New Mexico. Enjoy. This episode and New Mexicast's theme song are brought to you by Dorian Spencer. Some of you may get lucky enough to catch him busking around New York City, but fortunately for the rest of us, his newly released Stone to Stone CD is now available at DorianSpencer.com. In 1969, Easy Rider was a film that really shook things up around Hollywood. For its raw take on 1960s counterculture, the film, which starred actors Jack Nicholson, Peter Fonda, and Dennis Hopper, was hailed by Time magazine as one of the 10 most important pictures of the decade. Now, 40 years later, the movie is still making things happen, particularly in the town of Taos, New Mexico, where they're celebrating the return of the film's director, Dennis Hopper.
The fabulous actor and artist, Dennis Hopper.
Public relations expert Joni Griffin of Griffin & Associates teamed up with the town of Taos to launch this mega event they're calling the Summer of Love.
What we're doing is we're celebrating the 40th anniversary of the release of the movie Easy Rider, which was shot largely in Taos, also edited largely in Taos by Dennis Hopper, who was living here at the time. So that was released in 1969, so this is the 40-year anniversary. So we're calling it the Taos Summer of Love. Of course, the real Summer of Love was 1967, but we're in Taos, we're a little bit different.
So different, in fact, that Hopper and several of his artist friends made Taos their home in the 60s and 70s, a place where they could live and create art outside of Hollywood's limelight. Now Hopper returns to the media spotlight at the Harwood Art Museum in Taos, not to draw attention to himself, but as curator of Hopper at the Harwood, a celebration of 5 of those longtime friends who share a common interest in art.
So we have 3 artists here. We have Robert Dean Stockwell, and we have Kenny Price. Kenny Price is a ceramicist, but he didn't want to show any ceramics.
As Hopper walks through the gallery, he shares stories about the men he has known for decades and their work, which he clearly admires. Ken Price.
And these are his drawings and wonderful things. I mean, he's a terrific artist.
Larry Bell, Ronald Davis, Ron Cooper.
Ron has always had a wonderful way of going right down into the indigenous people and being able to live with them and be with them. And he now imports mezcal, one village mezcal out of Oaxaca. And so these things relate a lot to that.
And fellow actor and artist Robert Dean Stockwell.
There was a very famous artist by the name of Wallace Berman, and Dean played gin rummy with him every day for 10 years. I think that's how Wallace made his money.
And with each story, it becomes clear these men share an appreciation not only of art, but also of their home away from Hollywood. Why New Mexico? It's such a special place for many of us. What about for you and these guys? What is it about New Mexico in particular that stays with you?
Well, you know, I don't know. Taos is a very special place, and people either love it here and it keeps them, or they can't get out of here fast enough. And that's just the way it is. I don't know. It's not an easy place to live. It's very, very difficult. It's very difficult if you have money and come here. It's very difficult being here and trying to farm and work here. It's very, very hard. But it's a great place.
As Dennis Hopper is joined by Larry Bell and Dean Stockwell at the show's opening, Taos Mayor Darren Cordova makes it clear his town feels the same way about Hopper.
At this time, Mr. Hopper, I'd like to make you an honorary mayor of the town of Taos. Congratulations. Thank you very much. I hope you enjoy our community. Welcome back to Taos. Thank you.
Mayor, take over. If this had happened in the 60s, we've been in a lot of trouble.
Times have changed in more ways than an honorary mayorship. During the press conference, Dennis Hopper's young daughter dropped in for a visit. And it quickly became clear that even big-name Hollywood actors and world-renowned artists can be upstaged by a sweet, toothless grin, which is a work of art in anyone's book. In Taos, New Mexico, for New Mexicast, I'm Rosalinda Román. Once again, you heard me mention the Summer of Love, which is the big celebration going on up in Taos, New Mexico. Well, coming up in our next edition, I'm going to continue this story and introduce you to a woman who is not only celebrating up in Taos, but she actually was at the original Summer of Love, and she's got some amazing photographs that I want to share with you. So be sure to stick around, be subscribed to New Mexicast, either in iTunes or by email. We'll see you in 2 weeks. I'm Rosalinda Román. Sadly, about a year after that episode was shot, Dennis Hopper died of prostate cancer. Obviously very sad news for his fans, but especially heartbreaking knowing he leaves behind that young daughter that you saw in the video. Well, we do have some happier news, including some more interviews with Dennis Hopper coming up next episode, so hopefully you'll tune in for that. But first, we're going to have bloopers and outtakes at the end of this episode. Thank you to all of you for watching and supporting New Mexicast. I'm Rosalinda Román.
Like a dream I had.
New Mexicast theme song is New Mexico by Dorian Spencer. Additional support for New Mexicast provided by in Wisconsin on Lake Winnebago. And whoa.
You fell down?
Uh-huh.
Hey, would somebody jump up and down for me a little bit?
Okay.
Yeah, that trap door's gonna hold. I told you that duct tape would work. He didn't believe me. What's her name? Jesse James and what's that lady's name? God. Talk about a brain fart. Can you see that rock wall right there where the balloon shadow is? I mean, sorry, ballooner eclipse. The ballooner eclipse is.
These are serious journalists, by the way.
Working our buns off.
We're gonna drop down even lower here. See what happens. You like that see what happens part?
Yeah, really.
Yeah, if you're a control freak, ballooning might not be for you. He's always talking about a glare problem, but I haven't figured out what he's talking about. Anybody else know? I don't have a glare problem.
Oh my gosh.
We're terrible, aren't we?
From
New Orleans, and this is New Mexicast.
Can you say it, Tyler?
But we need to be a little bit more exciting. And this.
If there's anything that we can do to make your stay more enjoyable, please do not hesitate to call us. If you get a speeding ticket, our chief of police is here. He has promised to take care of that for you.
Can I see him too?
Sure. And it was of all... Oh my God. I thought I turned this off. Excuse me just a minute. Hello? Hello? Yeah, well, listen, I'm in the middle of a press conference.